is Namsatya, and I am a yogi. I am a Kundalini yoga teacher and practitioner. I'm also a wife, a mother, business owner, and many other things. Thank you so much for watching. So generally, I would love to use this space as a way to, of course, share if there's something that I would like to share about, but also to answer your questions. So if you do have any questions for me about what I do, my lifestyle, about Kundalini Yoga, then you can use the comment section here to ask me these questions. And then also I will put up, the little box on Instagram in stories so that you can also ask me there as well. So for today, I just thought as maybe a little kind of icebreaker, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. I wrote down 5 things that I find completely normal, but that maybe others will think is a little unusual that I do. So then you can just get to know me a little bit better. And in this way you can just know a little bit more about who I am and what I do. Okay, so the first thing is that there is never any silence in my house. Totally normal for me, but maybe unusual for most people. Now, why is that? What do I mean there's never any silence in my house? We have mantra boxes going in all of our rooms in the house. There are constantly mantra playing 24/7. I have mantras going on my phone as well. And I also have in every corner of the house, basically, there's a little mantra box that plays a mantra. Now, why would I do that? Why would someone do such a thing? And why not the silence? Well, the mantras that we use in Kundalini Yoga are very unique to this time on planet Earth. There's many different mantras out there. You might have, a spiritual tradition that you're part of that use certain mantras, and they can be great. Not all of them are obsolete, but some of them are. So the unique thing about Kundalini Yoga and what we call the Aquarian mantras that you find within this practice is that they work for now. Mantras are like keys, but a key is useless if the lock is not there. So not all mantras open up consciousness that is relevant for us. But these mantras that we find within this system of Kundalini Yoga, they work for this particular time, and they help us to unlock the consciousness of this planet right now. Now, besides that, mantras are very high frequency codes. So just think about, how you speak and your words and so on. There's some words that you say that are very positive and has a high frequency to them and just, bring goodness with them. And then there are other times that, someone can have a very negative tone, or, the things that they say can be very negative and so on. Now, the mantras are on a very positive current. They're of a very high frequency. And they put you on a positive current. So why not have that in your house all the time, right? So the silence, a lot of traditions also use silent meditation. We also do sometimes silent meditation in Kundalini Yoga, but generally we lean more towards using the mantras, because when the silence is there, what then becomes present for you? Your thoughts, right? And they may or may not be of a positive quality. Most of the time we have thoughts in our mind that can be, not always put us on such a negative current. They can kind of be haunting thoughts, is what we call it. And when we're presented with silence, then we're more likely to go into that space. Then if we have some positive sounds around us that can help kind of bring us back to a positive state, and because they have that high quality to them and are of a high frequency. Yeah, so that's the reason why we have those playing all the time. Also, when you are sleeping, then you are unconscious, right? But then what becomes conscious when we sleep is our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, again, it's like depends on what's in there, what's stored in there. The subconscious mind is formed largely when we are infants, and also when we're in our mother's belly when she's pregnant with us. So depending on kind of what was installed in us, And then it builds all the time, but that's the main kind of frame that is setting what we believe and what is kind of our most dominant thoughts. We can change that though. That's a big part of what Kundalini Yoga, this technology, can actually do for us, is that we can change the mainframe, so that it is one that is serving us rather than being of disservice to us. But when we have just complete silence, what happens is that then the thoughts take over. They might be present anyway, even if you have mantras playing, but at least when the mantras are playing, you are more likely to just stay on a positive current, and it does something to a space when there is mantras playing. So that's why we have them going. Oh, and what I wanted to say about when you sleep. So when you sleep, the conscious mind turns off, and then it's the subconscious mind that takes over, and you're a little bit more vulnerable in that state. We all have had that experience of dreaming that the tiger is chasing us through the jungle, or whatever it might be, robbers come in, or it can be just weird dreams that can happen. So we don't pay too much attention to those in this system. We know that the dreams are just kind of an accumulation of the subconscious and kind of processing of what happened that day and so on. Although, of course, sometimes you can have lucid dreams that you should pay attention to, but most of the time it's just kind of a subconscious ruminating that you don't have to worry about too much. Now, again, if you play the mantras, if you have that going, it enters the subconscious mind, and you are more likely again to just stay on a positive, constructive current, and it can help you to have better sleep and not go to those exhausting spaces when you sleep. All right, the next thing that you might think is interesting or funny about me that I find completely normal is that I haven't cut my hair at all since the last 10 years. And now 10 years for me is not seeming that long. I know people where this is the case even longer, but I haven't cut any hair. And I mean any hair, not just the hair on my head, any hair for the last 10 years. Now, why would someone do that? Well, first of all, I think that we have to just examine that behavior and look at why are we actually cutting the hair, because does it really make sense, except for just looking at aesthetic and, well, that's what everyone does, right? So a big part of what I've been doing through this work with Kundalini Yoga and going deeper into this part and into this path and into this practice is just to examine a lot of the behavior that we consider normal. And for me, one of the things where I was like, well, that actually doesn't make a lot of sense is all of the hair cutting. Because why would we have hair if we constantly need to cut it, right? From a yogic point of view, hair has energy, and hair is part of you and it's part of your nervous system. So when you cut it, even when you trim it, you just it's a lot. It requires a lot for the body to then have to grow it back. Now what I do is that I put my hair up, right? So I tie it up like this. We call it a rishi knot when you tie the hair around, and then you put it at the top of your head. And there's what's called a solar center here. So this is one of the places that we harness energy. And when you put your hair in this way, you have it at its full length, it's said that you receive more energy. I don't know if I can really say kind of the difference, in the sense that I kind of decided, okay, I'm just not going to cut my hair anymore. And I didn't try. A couple of other things I tried. I was like, well, what if I do this? Will I feel a difference? With the hair, I just never really tried. But I definitely noticed when I was wearing my hair out versus putting it up, that I find that when I keep it up, I'm much more focused. I have a lot more energy. I don't get irritated throughout the day. So, that's one of the things that just kind of worked for me. Now, the next thing that kind of leading into, what I just talked about, why do I wear this? I always cover my hair when I go in public. And there are a couple of reasons for it. The one was the one I just talked about. It gives me more energy. This is one of the things that I tried. I had to figure out, is this actually for me or not? Because I had, of course, covering your head is very unusual, and probably what people find the most unusual about me when they meet me. me. So I had to really find out, you know, is this actually something I want to do? Because of course it can also be you know, triggering for some people, because it does have a very religious connotation to it when you cover your head. I think maybe at some point I related to it also. I was curious about it in this way, you know, in the religious context. But I have to say now that it's something very practical, and it is something that I do because, again, it makes me feel a lot more focused, contained. I don't get as irritated or emotional as I do when I have my hair out. So that's something that I would love to talk more about. There's a whole science to why you do it, and you kind of keep your bones together and so on. But it's also, of course, one of those things that are a bigger deal to a lot of people because it's very public and visible. And yeah, people will often have reactions, you know, when you meet them first time, you know, they think it's very curious, why are you doing this, and so on. Mostly because in the way that we know about people covering their head, almost always have a religious link to it, right? But as I see it, it's really just a very powerful, very useful, for me, technology, and that's why I do it. Oh, the other one. Why do I wear white? Or just that is normal for me. I almost always wear white. And yeah, it might be a little bit strange for most people. It's certainly not the most practical color when you are a parent. And, you know, we live right now, I'm in the countryside. Yeah, and, you know, it's not easy. You are outside and, you know, you walk in the forest and you maybe get like, you know, dirt on you. And this is not the easiest color to kind of maintain. But the reason for the white is, like, I think just if you're curious about what that does, maybe the best advice I can give is to try it. It is very addictive. White is a very uplifting color. I think it makes it a little bit easier just looking at it from few angles, but the practical side of it, if you just have one color that you always wear, it gives you less decision fatigue, because I just know, okay, this is my wardrobe, this is my color palette, and from this I relate to it also from this point of view. I know not everyone does, but from this point of view also, it makes it very easy to get dressed. Everything kind of matches, everything goes together. So there's that part of it. I like that it doesn't give me this decision fatigue of having to kind of put together an outfit all the time. So that simplifies that process for me. And then the other thing is that white helps to expand the aura. There are other colors that all the colors have different qualities to them, and there can be different reasons for wearing different colors, but the white is helping to expand the auric field, so it doesn't block your energy. Now, as a Kundalini yoga teacher, it is asked that you wear white when you teach, because it helps to extend your auric field. You know, many mechanisms happen here, but one of the things that people come to you for is to connect to your auric field, and this is basically how things are transmitted in a yoga class, in this system of yoga. So if you wear another color, that can block that process. The other reason is that a color like black, for example, is very absorbent. It absorbs other lights, you know, it attracts as well, which you can also use it in that way, but it absorbs. And when you are in a yogic setting, when you're in a Kundalini yoga class setting, the subconscious mind releases a lot, like what we talked about earlier, that's a big part of this system. And what it does is that it can help you to release and to kind of change what is in the subconscious mind. But in that process, when the subconscious release, it can attract, you know, it can be, if you sit and you're covered fully in black, you can actually absorb and attract that which is being released, and that's not necessarily what you want. So if you wear white, that doesn't happen. Okay, so white is also one of the healing colors. There are 3 healing colors that you wear them, and they help to heal the body and the mind and so on. So white is one of them. The other one is blue. You might see me in blue at times. This is recently that I started wearing this dark blue, but I really like it a lot, and it's a little bit more more discreet. So there might be situations where I think, it would be nice not to. The white is very visible, and there could be moments where I think, okay, maybe now it's nice to be a little bit more discreet. For example, if I'm flying, I don't stand out so much, or traveling, driving, and so on. In that case, I'll wear the blue, and this is this kind of like dark blue color. And then also orange. Orange is a very healing color as well. So those are the three. I'm not so much into the orange, but for me, the white and the blue are my two kind of stable colors. So you will almost always see me wearing that. So yeah, and I think I have fun with it. I like the challenge of, as I said, kind of having a parameter. It helps me with the decision fatigue and just to make more, I think, easy, intelligent decisions for myself when I just have that to relate to. Okay, and then the last one that I put down is that when I travel, it's not really for leisure. I usually travel to quote unquote gather energy. Now, this is something that I learned from my teachers, that we do a lot of yatras. Yatra just means to travel, but a yatra is a little bit more intentional than when you think about, going on holiday and so on. So I can't really remember the last time I went on just a holiday, like kind of like a beach holiday or something. Now, also, I was living, not that long ago, I was living very close to the beach, so maybe I didn't need that kind of holiday, but we almost always travel either to see, family. And then the other part is really these yatras where you actually more intentionally look for and go to places that has high energy. This is Ulk. This is my dog. This is Uli, our little dog. And dogs are such wonderful creatures. These pets are just so very emotionally balancing. So yeah, I love to have a dog with me. And this is Uli, our dog that we got, 6 years ago. I think it's coming up on 6 years. He's our good friends. He also loves it to come to the classes and do the sadhanas with me and so on. So that's very nice. So the yatras is a little bit more intentional than just going to visit places or going on holiday. When I go on these yatras, either with my teachers, or now I also arrange yatras for others, to come with me on yatras. We are really looking for gathering energy, and we're looking for visiting places that has a lot of energy. Now, these places can be, it can be sometimes more obvious, meaning that, the trip I'm going on now, next month, in just a couple of weeks, we go to India, and we're going to visit the Golden Temple, which is a very sacred site and powerful place for these mantras that I talked about, that these mantras are very special for this time. And there are places on planet Earth where these mantras are sung and are chanted, 24/7, and this place Amritsar in India is one of those places. So I really love that place a lot. Other places that I like to go to, I travel to Jerusalem a lot when that was more accessible, but that's one of my favorite places also to go for energy. That's just land that has so much history and energy, and that's a very special place to me. Now, someone asked me recently what was like my 3 favorite places, and then the other place, so now I mentioned Amritsar, I mentioned Jerusalem, and then the other place is Assisi, which I just went there with my teachers. There was for the first time ever, they opened for display, the bones of St. Francis. So there was a big opportunity to go there. It wasn't there very long. I think about a month or something they had it open, and we went there, a big group, and it was very powerful to go there all together. But that's another place that I really, really love for its energy. What do I do when I go to these places? You can set an intention, you gather, you bow. We have these things called arc lines. You can see them in religious paintings. You have from earlobe to earlobe, you have a halo. Everyone has that. We haven't really been trained to see it, but all humans have these halos. And then when you go to places, for example, and you bow, or you go to a place where a person has experienced an enlightened state, or they've gathered some type of energy or information that has helped humanity, you go, you bow your head, and then you receive some of that, or you can receive some of that. So that's one of the practices that I like to do. That when we travel, we always try to find, important churches, or, hermitages, or caves, where people were enlightened, and that's typically always what we do since I met my husband. Since the last many years, we always go to these places of power, and we very rarely go on a holiday in that sense that is just for leisure. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope that you learned a little bit more about me. And next time I would love to answer your questions and maybe talk about something that you might be interested in. So I'll keep an eye on the comments section, and then you can also connect with me on Instagram if you would like to hear more about or have any questions for me. Satnam. Thank you. Stay tuned. I will be sharing just a brief practice that is a pranayama, a breath work that is very helpful for decreasing stress and just any moment that you want to relax and kind of put yourself in a state of flow and rhythm. Okay, so we're going to practice a little breath that can be very helpful to just let go of stress, and it also puts you in a sense of rhythm. And just kind of brings you back to yourself. So it's called the 8-stroke breath for distressing. Now, before practicing, we always tune in. Just think about it, when you're joining a Zoom meeting, you need the link, or in order to watch this video, you needed the link, right? So this mantra is the link. It helps you to connect and just bring you to the right place when using this type of yoga and technology. So you just bring your hands together like this in front of the heart, and then rest the thumbs against the sternum, bring your elbows up, close your eyes, and then we'll tune in with the mantra Om Namo Gurudev Namo. We'll just do a quick tune in here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale and exhale. Now you want to bring your hands into what's called the Gyan Mudra. That's your index finger and your thumb that is touching, and just put a little bit of pressure here, just like so you feel something is activating. And then relax your hands down on your knees, close your eyes, and then it's an 8-stroke inhale. So you will segment your breath into 8 as you inhale, and as you inhale, feel the belly moves out. As you exhale, you bring the navel towards the spine. Inhale, belly moves out. Exhale towards the spine, okay? And then you segment the breath into 8 strokes like this. And then you exhale in 1. Inhale in 8. Exhale in 1. And just keep going. And now I suggest that while you inhale, mentally hear the mantra Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Exhale. Inhaling Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Exhale. Continue. Inhale deep. And hold the breath. You want to lift your pelvic floor, your sex organs and the anus. Feel everything contract. Navel moves in towards the spine. And then exhale. Again, inhale. And hold the breath. Now just flip your hands over so that the hands are resting on your knees and start rolling your shoulders. Still holding the breath. Exhale. Inhale. Hold and then roll your shoulders again. Go a little bit faster this time. And exhale. Okay, very good. Now to tune out again, we use the mantra Sat Nam. You can just bring your hands together, just close your eyes, and we'll do what we call a long Sat Nam. Inhale. Sat Nam. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for practicing this meditation with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.